I gave away my grandfather's broken camera. Leather strap cracked, shutter stuck, light meter blind. It still smelled like his dark room. Vinegar, dust, the sweet bite of fixer. And it was the last thing in my room that sounded like him when I touched it. I didn't give it away because I stopped caring. I gave it away because someone else needed it more. Her name was Calla, first year at the Community Arts Center. Soft voice, steady eyes. She waited after class while the others compared rented lenses. Her hands kept drifting toward the old film bodies on the shelf, the ones nobody signed out anymore. She saw the camera in my bag. "Does it still work?" she asked. "Not yet," I said, "but it remembers how." I only had one free hour that week. I should have slept. I should have fixed the leak in my sink. Instead, I placed the camera in her palms the way you place a story in someone's hands. "It's broken," I said. "The shutter spring is tired. The meter lies." She turned the body over like a small animal she didn't want to scare. "Could I try to fix it? If you keep one promise?" "What promise?" "Use it to see people the way they hope to be seen." She smiled with hope that hurts a little. We found a tiny screwdriver and a coffee can of screws. She lifted the top plate, lined the parts on a napkin, and held up a spring no bigger than an eyelash. She slipped it onto her key ring. "Lucky," she said. "Reminder," I said. I went home to my quiet apartment and set the empty camera bag on the chair my grandfather used to take his afternoon naps in. The chair looked thinner without the weight. Calla's road wasn't smooth. She bought expired film in bulk. Some rolls came back fogged like bad weather. She washed dishes to cover lab fees, then fell asleep on the bus with the camera wrapped in her coat. She learned to light faces with windows and kindness. The old camera taught her patience. Count to 3. Breathe. Trust the click. She kept the shutter spring on her key ring. When work felt too big, she rubbed it warm between her fingers. "Broken still makes pictures," she would say. She tried newspapers. "Great eye," they said, "but we need speed and clicks." She tried ad work. "Beautiful," they said. "Make the skin smoother." She tried weddings and cried twice from behind the lens. She failed often. She kept going. Years passed. She learned sound. She learned release forms. She learned how to ask questions that don't push people away. Then a storm tore the roofs off her hometown and scattered mailboxes down the river. The local station said everything was under control. The faces at the relief tent said otherwise. Calla filmed the line that didn't move. Mothers holding forms that asked for a home address when half the homes were gone. Elders squinting at 8-point print. A truck that arrived full and left half full because the list was wrong. A guard saying, "No recording," and a nurse whispering, "Please keep recording." She put down the camera to carry boxes, then picked it up again. Her footage wasn't pretty, it was clear. She didn't chase tears, she found hands. The problem wasn't only the storm, it was rules that made people vanish. Calla cut the film at her kitchen table on a borrowed laptop that crashed when she breathed on it. She titled the piece, "Line of Names." It moved the slow way that matters. Friend to cousin to a local reporter who'd been told to keep it upbeat. He sent it to a national desk. Someone at the national desk sent it to a media rights lawyer named Arden. Arden called her. "Your film shows relief workers forcing people off camera in a public building," he said. "It shows a posted no recording sign with no legal basis. It shows public officers turning off body cams when citizens ask questions. And most important, it shows forms that require a fixed address to get aid in a town that just lost its roofs." Calla listened and wrote it all down like a list for a hard grocery run. "Do you have consent?" "Yes, names and signatures, some on paper, some on camera." "Do you have chain of custody for your raw files?" "Timestamps, backups, and the old camera that can't fake a thing." Arden laughed once. "Good, you might change something." Hearings followed. People who never met each other spoke the same sentence. I stood in that line. A council member tried to wave it off as a student video. A retired judge said, "Student work built the first bridge I drove on." It wasn't outrage alone that moved the room. It was Calla's patient ledger of truth. Every cut had a source. Every face had consent. Every claim had a document. And in one scene, the clearest of all, Calla asking, "Show me the law that says I can't record," and the guard looking at a blank wall where no law lived. The hearings grew. Neighborhood groups joined. People brought their own phone footage. Calla taught them to add time, place, and names to captions so their files could stand in court, not just online. The storm had passed, but the system's leaks were still there. Her film held a light to them, steady as a nurse's hand. 12 years after I set the camera in her hands, the legislature passed the Community Recording and Open Evidence Act. 3 simple parts changed a lot. 1. Anyone may record public officials in public spaces, including relief centers, as long as they don't interfere with care or safety. 2. Public agencies must keep body cams on during public interactions, log any shutdown with reason and time, and make logs available on request. 3. Citizen shot footage has a clear path to be preserved, verified, and used as evidence, with consent, timestamps, and a respectful chain of custody. Law in plain words, law that knows where people stand when water rises. Calla's film didn't make her rich. It did something better. Universities taught her case in ethics classes. Stations updated field guides. At the City Museum, a small exhibit opened. Keep Your Shadow. Behind glass sat reporter notebooks, cracked phones taped at the corners, and, on a soft cloth, my grandfather's camera. I stood in the back like I always do. Strangers leaned in to read the label. They didn't know my grandfather's hands. They didn't need to. I almost left before the talk. I had a bus to catch, a shift to start, and a small fear that if I stayed, the story would point at me. It never needed to. Then I saw a photograph on the wall. Calla's hands cupping that tiny shutter spring like a seed. The caption read, "From something broken, a way to see." I stayed. Calla took the microphone. She thanked teachers, neighbors, the nurse who asked her to keep filming, and the person who trusted me with a camera that could not lie. She didn't say my name. She didn't know it. Here's the small twist. After the talk, a staffer asked Calla how to label the camera. Donor unknown? Calla shook her head. Write what matters. The label became, camera given with one promise. Use it to see people the way they hope to be seen. The crowd stirred. I shifted my weight, ready to slip away. Calla stepped off the stage and almost passed me. She stopped, tilted her head, and looked at my hands. Calluses from mops and ladders. A faint fixer line under a nail that never quite fades. Did you ever fix darkroom sinks? She asked. Once, I said, long ago. She smiled the kind of smile that is a soft light, not a spotlight. Then thank you, she said, for the sink, for the promise. I bought 2 museum coffees that were too bitter and exactly right. We stood by the glass and looked at the camera. We didn't take a photo. We didn't need to pin a moment already on the wall. No sermon. No lesson spelled out, just an image I keep. A cracked leather strap, oiled and mended. A spring no bigger than an eyelash, warm between a student's fingers. A line of people who do not disappear when rules are read out loud. And a law in plain language carrying what a camera once carried alone, the right to be seen clearly when it matters most.